Fourth in the country. Batting average, Rothrock ready. Bassett as well. First pitch is ball one. We are underway right on time, but a little bit late because of the game ahead of us between Mercer and Indiana. Went a little bit long in 7 innings. It was close to a run rule victory, but Indiana winning 9-2 over Mercer. So they've won 12 straight. Bassett pops this up, first base side. Gales over, had room, but that closes promptly as it scrapes off the netting for strike one.
That's such a hard play to make, coming over across her body to try to push the net back.
It's always a feeling out process in this ballpark. The net extending all the way down the line, just shy of the foul poles. This one popped up right side of the infield. Mia Williams makes the catch. And that reminds me, too, you know, Charlotte Eccles, I can remember the last couple of years at third base when she's had pop-ups near that netting. If it's your own dugout, they pull back that screen so you have extra room to make the catch. Avery Gales didn't have that luxury near the Indiana dugout. So Bassett retired. Here's one of the best two-way players in the country. Brianna Copeland eyes strike one. Alicia, what makes her so special and what she's done this year?
I just think her confidence. We talked to Coach earlier this week, and she just brings it. She comes in ready to play each and every time, and I think they knew it from the first time the coaches saw her. They told us their story, how 2 separate coaches saw her in the recruiting process, didn't even compare notes, and both came back with that name, Brianna Copeland, because she was a dog.
Yeah, they had both their eyes targeted on the same player after showing up at a tournament in the recruiting process. And Brianna Copeland has been great since she's been a Hoosier, really has developed. 278 her freshman year. She's hitting 387 prior to the doubleheader today, but had her best season last year. What was the Hoosiers' first regional since 2011. This is the 51st year in Hoosier program history. It was Team 50 that took this program to heights it had not seen since the mid-90s. Over 40 wins. 2-2 coming. Jam job bouncer foul. And Taryn Kern, who was their star last year, second team All-American, Big Ten Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year. She's since transferred to Stanford. So even with losing their All-American, Taryn Kern, they've still kept up all the production from a year ago. High bouncer, Kowalewski early test at third. Frozen rope for out number 2.
And that's such a tough play to make. Kowalewski having to be athletic and go into that 5-6 hole, take a drop step, and reach over her left shoulder to come back and make a strong throw to get Copeland out of first.
Filling that spot, that was Charlotte Eccles. Last couple seasons at third, part of why the Gators are so good defensively. And this year, Florida has not missed a beat. They're the top fielding percentage team in the country at .986. Only 9 errors. Here's Taylor Minnick in the 3 spot, hitting .392. Takes just a tad out, 2-0. A veteran team that has freshman pieces sprinkled in. But Minnick, one of those vets, leads the team in RBI. Hits in 5 of her last 6. And the first 3 out of the zone. Last night for Rothrock, the issue was walks, a season high for any Gator pitcher with 5 walks. Did have 11 strikeouts, was able to change speeds well as the start went along. 4 straight out of the zone to Minnick and a 4-pitch walk. Brings in Avery Parker, cleanup hitter, getting the start behind home plate. So Rothrock for a second consecutive day here for Tim Walton. Of course, these two will play another game tomorrow morning. Have a pinch runner over at first for the Hoosiers. Cassidy Kettleman's going to run. They know runs are going to be at a premium today, Alicia, so already a pinch runner at first to get some speed on the bases.
And I think that's a good move. I mean, got to take advantage of the base runners that you have when you have a Keegan Rothrock on the mound. You mentioned her walks yesterday, but 11 strikeouts, you can't fail to mention that as well. So when you're on base, you got to take advantage of that.
So runner at first, 2 gone for the catcher, Avery Parker. One of those young pieces sprinkled in, just a sophomore. Coach Shonda Stanton mentioning that she's a little bit banged up behind home plate, but that's part of the deal being a catcher. Chelsea Dobbins jogs out, the Gator pitching coach. So 5 consecutive out of the zone here for Keegan Rothrock. What are you seeing here from the Gator freshman?
Well, you know, we saw something similar in Ava Brown on Wednesday. I can imagine that it's just a little bit of nerves. You know, she's had a really great season thus far. So I can imagine that Coach Dobbins is coming out there to kind of calm her down a little bit, just kind of remind her who she is and to pound the zone a little bit. Can't play scared and try to not make a mistake. You have to just trust your stuff and make those pitches dance.
Saw the Hall of Famer, Tim Walton, elected to the NFCA Hall of Fame this offseason. 1-0 to Parker. In the air, left field, tailing foul. So ends that stretch of 5 consecutive out of the zone from Rothrock, who at one point this year had 36 straight scoreless innings. Just shy of a stretch set by Kelly Barnhill in 2018 when she had 37 straight scoreless. That's the kind of year the Indiana native has had, and now playing her home state school. I'm sure there's a little extra to that. Whiteland, Indiana native. Sure knows a lot of these players from the travel ball circuit in the state of Indiana.
Especially being a 3-time Gatorade Player of the Year. So you know that Keegan Rothrock is a big name back in our home state.
1-2 on its way. Tails outside. Also of note for Indiana, it's one of the best stolen base teams in the country. They're second in the nation with 75 stolen bases. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Erickson is one of the best at throwing out runners behind home plate. Line right to Gell, snags it for the final out of the inning. So Rothrock works around that 2-out walk. 8 and 9. Ariel Kowalewski coming off that career performance as Falby takes inside, and Sophie Kleiman. Alicia will get the start here for the Hoosiers, second in the Big Ten in ERA.
And she is going to stay down in the zone and pound that lower half with her drop ball and her curve ball with some speed as well, pitching in the mid-60s. So you can expect some ground ball outs today.
4 1/3 yesterday against Mercer. Did not pitch in game 1 today. One point, prior to giving up a run yesterday to the Mercer Bears, had 5 consecutive appearances not allowing a run. And that's been the big difference with Indiana from last year to this, a team that made a regional for the first time in 12 years. Well, this year they've added the pitching to the hitting. This has been a team that has pitched to the 10th best ERA in the country, and you've had Kleiman coupled with Copeland that have been very good. Jam foul.
And Kleiman moving up the rankings as a sophomore, not getting a lot of innings last year, but has just really developed and shown that she wants those innings and she is worthy and she can handle these teams that she's throwing to, especially with her drop ball just being so heavy, moving down the zone.
Coach Stanton said, quote, "She is the key to the puzzle." To what has allowed us to rip off to a 22-4 start. Falby fouls this off of Avery Parker. Count now full. Last year pitched to just under a 9 ERA. 18 appearances, all in relief, 25 2/3 innings. She's already doubled up her innings from last year, and we're only in mid-March. Payoff slow, and that's danger for the Hoosiers, as Falby, always a threat to take off. Has not of late, but the Gators have a leadoff base runner in the first.
And that's dangerous when you have Falby, as you said, hasn't gotten a ton of stolen bases as of lately, but then you have Skylar Wallace on deck. It's almost automatic 2 bases on a base hit when you have someone like Falby at first base.
What's interesting, Falby has not had a stolen base in the last 8 or an attempt in the last 6. She's actually been caught in her last 2 attempts. Next to Wallace is right down center. Skylar Wallace, start to her year, 486, 6 homers, 30 runs driven in. Last night was 1 for 1. Didn't see a whole lot to hit. Walked twice, was hit by a pitch. She had 3 stolen bases. Now has 100 for her Gator career. Puts her 13 behind Kelsey Stewart. Runner takes off. That hit Wallace. So that won't count as a stolen base for Kendra Falvey. But she did take off. It's the thought that counts. First and second.
But that's what makes Skylar Wallace so good is she can hit the ball and she can hit it far. But she also has such great discipline at the plate. And there she is getting hit by a pitch. Now runners on first and second for the Gators.
So second time hit this weekend. Here's Jocelyn Erickson. Leads the SEC in RBI because of situations like this. Table setters in front of her when Falvey and Wallace get on. She's taken full advantage with 36 RBI. And it's 2-0. Last night ended a 6-game hit streak for the Gator catcher. It was on twice with 2 walks. 3-0 now.
And Kleiman just has to find her footing in this game. Giving up a walk and a hit by pitch. Kind of has to hone in on the zone a little bit more.
And there it is, right down center.
Now the trick is to come all the way back when you're facing a player like Jocelyn Erickson. Don't necessarily want to give her anything too good, but you almost have to when you have runners on first and second.
Just south of the knees, so now the bases are loaded. 3 consecutive free passes, and not the way Indiana wanted to start this one today.
You don't necessarily see that often, but with Indiana, like you said, has done them some justice. And another arm as well for the hitters to hit against.
Here's Corby Otis. Seems to find her way on more often than not. Second in OBP, leads the team in walks with 25. And there's a strike. Hitting .431, just has been ultra consistent. It's moved up and down in the lineup from 3 to 4, even as low as 5 at times. And there's a handful of players you can slot in every single day, and Corby Otis is one of those out in left field. 2-1. Ground ball, surfs into right center. That should bring in 2. Falvey in. Here comes Wallace. Erickson down to third. 2 runs in on a big swing from Corby Otis, and the Gators strike first in the opening inning.
And the Gators once again score first on a Corby Otis single up the middle. Takes this pitch that's a little bit too much over the plate, drives it to right center field. I think Stone could have had an opportunity to get this ball, but a great hack by Otis to bring in the Gators' first 2 runs. Taking advantage of the Hoosiers' mistakes in Kleiman with their free passes, and that's what happens, you know, when you give up walks, when you hit batters. Sometimes it comes back to bite you.
Meanwhile, the Gators, Alicia, had that first and third play on, so Otis will get an easy stolen base, her 6th of the year, and the Gators now 2nd and 3rd. Otis now 19 RBI on the season as well. He's hit in 5 straight. Kistler sharply lines one to short. They tag out Otis for the double play. Ball right in front of her. That's kind of a cardinal sin there for a base runner, but easier said than done to get back to the bag.
It is, and that's the #1 rule in the Gators dugout. Freeze line drive you see here. She freezes, but she almost turns to the ball instead of taking a step back when that's an easy play for Benson at shortstop, and a really good heads-up play by her as well in tagging Otis out.
And that's just a huge double play because this inning was really going south here for Sophie Kleiman. We've seen the Gators do damage with 2 outs, but all things considered, you can keep this at a 2-run deficit. Walsh chops this to the right side. Hard play for Van Brandt, throws on the move. and gets Walsh for the final out. So Kleiman does give a day. And going up against Keegan Rothrock, who worked around a 2-out walk in the first. Will take on Allie Van Brandt, Sarah Stone, and Kinsey Mitchell. That's 5, 6, and 7 for IU. With the lefty slapper, the outfield is very shallow and wrapped around a little bit to the left.
You'll typically see that when you're facing a lefty slapper. Typically lefties like to poke it through to the left side or up the middle.
Van Brandt, one of those really good freshmen in this lineup. Ottawa, Michigan, led the team in batting average, been ultra consistent in her debut year, hitting .462 entering the day. Hits in 8 of her last 9. Lofts this out to center. Falby over and makes the catch. Brings in now Sarah Stone. Got a chance to talk to Shonda Stanton a few days ago, the Indiana head coach. It's a team that is a lot more analytics driven than years past. It's part of their success. They brought in individual consultants, and they're heavily data driven now. And they really made the turn last season. Made that strong commitment. Everybody knows their role. Everybody kind of knows based on splits against righties or lefties. Are we facing a ground ball pitcher, fly ball pitcher? All those things are factored into what lineup is going to be created for that day. It's more common now in the game of softball, but it really has entered the consciousness for Shonda Stanton the last couple of years. 1-2 now to Stone.
They've used data in the past, but this year, Coach Stanton really harping on the fact that they relied on it and made decisions based off of that and really committed to it. I think it's an amazing, advancement for the sport of softball, but all sports, just to know, like we talk about Yacker Tech, we talk about different technologies that allow you to see immediate results. You can make immediate adjustments just based off of the data that you see in the analytics.
Stone takes low, and she said this is the first year we've really been heavily data-driven when it comes to our pitching. You might see an opener. You might see somebody come in for 2 innings. Somebody pitches 4 and then comes in and closes it out in the 7th. Stone swings through, strike 3. And that's Rothrock's first strikeout after 11 last night. There's 2 outs.
Rothrock just throwing this pitch, a little missed curveball, but goes down enough to get her to swing over it. We talk about her spin being so deceptive, even on a pitch that's missed, low and inside, gets her to be deceived.
Here's Kinsey Mitchell, left-handed slapper. Offense in Indiana that's led the Big Ten in batting average, scoring, slugging, stolen bases. Mitchell down on the count, 0-2.
We see that defensive alignment again with the left and center field being pinched over to the left field line and all the infielders pinched in for the slapper.
Strike 3, nabs the outer half. Borderline pitch goes Rothrock's way, back to back way here at KSP. We slide to the home second, Ariel Kowalewski, star of last night. Home run, 5 runs driven in. Did not play in the midweek against Stetson. That's what Tim Walton really liked. The fact that she was able to jump back into the starting lineup, contribute. First 3 out of the zone here to Kowalewski. Been very good defensively for the Gators this season. Uncorks on a ball, shallow left. This won't leave the yard. Taylor Minnick in foul ground for the first out. Last night her home run, Alicia, went 260 feet.
Yeah, it's still going.
Brings in now Mia Williams. Gators scoring 2 runs in the first on a 2-run single from Corby Otis. IU was able to get a big double play to limit the damage in the opening inning. First tour, high hopper to third. Alex Cooper across the diamond. 1 pitch for out number 2. Gators still trying to get Mia Williams going offensively. Now it's up to Avery Gales with 2 gone. Sophie Kleiman looking for a nice bounce back inning after facing 7 in the first, or 6 batters in the first.
And if I'm Kleiman, I'm allowing those first 2 outs to give me some confidence. Like you said, her first inning didn't go as planned, giving up 2 runs to the Gators, but those first 2 outs, getting them out early, making them swing over and under, allow that to give me some confidence to keep pushing forward and get my team back in the dugout.
2-0 to Gales. Right at the knees, strike 1. There's something to, if you're Kleiman, somebody who's stepping into this environment for the first time. You can look at the top half of that lineup and have some wide eyes, not in a good way. But settling in nicely after getting that double play. Since that line-out double play, she's retired the last 4 to the plate. Ball forward. 5-pitch walk to Gale, so that turns the lineup over for Kendra Falby here with 2 gone.
You gotta limit those mistakes. They came back and bit the Hoosiers last inning. I didn't necessarily think that was a bad pitch, but you saw last inning what the umpire was going to give you. That's what the beginning of the game is for, to try to establish the zone, see what the umpire is calling you, and having to adjust.
Ball in the dirt. Janet Tidwell is our home plate umpire. Christine Littlefield is at first. Jason Smith is over at third here today. I was talking to some of our SEC Network crew before the game. I had mentioned the fact that the days of no humidity here in Gainesville, they're done for the year. So buckle up, folks. Those on the cameras out there. Falby yanks one to first, and that's stabbed by Sarah Stone. Steps on the square for the 3 unassisted. One above the minimum all-time meeting between these 2 schools. You have to go back a ways from the last time they played, as Alex Cooper swings through strike 1. 2014 was the last time that these 2 played. February of that year, Hannah Rogers threw a no-hitter against the Hoosiers. Both of those games were in Gainesville that year. Delaney Gorley also threw a complete game 4-hitter against Indiana that season.
Some household names in the Gator uniform.
Gorley, your teammate.
Yeah, still told people to this day. I learned my off-speed drop by trying to learn her changeup.
Really?
So that's, and that's the camaraderie that I had in the Gator uniform. And it's so interesting to watch these 3 freshmen, and Olivia Miller, Keegan Rothrock, and Ava Brown, not necessarily having a vet who's played all 3 years or 2 years in the Gator uniform to help them out.
Outside corner, Rothrock again getting that outer edge. She's now struck out the last 3, bridging the last 2 innings.
And that's what you can expect out of Rothrock, averaging over 1 strikeout per inning, but takes the screwball in the outside corner to freeze Cooper.
Brings in Brooke Benson, the 9-hitter for Indiana. First time through their lineup. First pitch hack, sky-high pop-up. Kowalewski in the circle. Rothrock, like every pitcher should, unless you're Alicia Ocasio and you're an athlete. Just kind of get out of the way, right?
Or being a Cooper on Indiana, right?
That's right, yeah. But pitchers usually, for the most part, they know their role in those infield pop flies. You got to get out of the way.
And that's something else that you can expect from Rothrock. We talk about her strikeouts, but she also induces a lot of flyouts with her rise.
You've got a chance to watch a lot of Rothrock. What do you think right now is her best pitch?
Well, she struggled a little bit in the second and mostly the first inning with her rise ball, not having command of that pitch.
This is popped up. Shallow left. We'll get more of that answer from Alicia Ocasio. She continues to develop as such a young star pitcher?
Well, her spin is phenomenal. She's going to come lower in the zone with that curveball and that screwball, but I love her rise ball. I love to watch the spin of it and the trajectory of it moving through the zone. And she typically likes to set batters up using that rise ball. She will strike batters out, as you saw with her screw and curve, but in the first inning, didn't necessarily have a lot of command over it. As Skylar Wallace gets nuked again.
Third time over the last 2 games. He's been hit twice here today. So you get on, and for Wallace, probably taking off here.
Once again in the Evo Shield, that is her box. She has every right to stay in there and take that ball to her Evo Shield for first base.
Wallace stole 3 bases yesterday. This one gets away, and that hit Erickson. So it's a dead ball. Wallace was trying to turn the corner to third. We'll be first and second. Let's see if we can get another look at that, because it hit just about everybody behind home plate. Avery Parker, the home plate umpire, Jana Tidwell, hit the arm, the catcher in the head, and then went to the backstop.
It actually came up here and hit me too.
Yeah. The magic softball just hit everybody. All right, so that's the 3rd hit by pitch for Sophie Kleiman, and that might just do it here for the star pitcher. And it looks like we're going to have a pitching change. Heather Johnson pitched in the last one against Mercer. She's going to head out there. Inherits a tough situation. First and second, nobody out in the 3rd. Pitching change here at KSP. Come on back. Well, tough spot to inherit Corby Otis. Runners take off, a double steal and a double clutch from Avery Parker. Skylar Wallace does some sort of eagle celebration over at third. I don't think I've seen that before.
Love it, and that's a play that Coach Wallen absolutely called. You see Corby Otis right here, keeping her barrel in front of the plate to push through that bunt to get the defensive alignment to shift so that Skylar could steal third.
I think they might look here to see if one of them left early. You can't look at that on review. So Shonda Stanton coming out, perhaps looking to see if maybe Wallace left early from second base. Yes, it is Wallace. They're going to challenge Skylar Wallace that she left early from second base. So Coach Stanton probably had her eyes locked on that the whole way, and part of that might have been the hesitation from Avery Parker because Wallace got such a good jump heading towards third base. So once we have those images to show you, we will get you what the umpires are looking at. So the umpires will head over and look at that replay. Gators a 2-run single from Otis. That's the difference right now in the first. A couple of hit by pitches chasing the starter for IU, Sophie Kleiman. Right now, Heather Johnson facing second and third. Let's see, Alicia, what do you think?
I think she's good. I don't think she leaves early on that. I think sometimes there's, you know, when you have that back leg taking a step beforehand, it's easy to feel like the runner left early, but in reality, the foot that's on the bag is still there until the pitch is released. So you'll see that often.
It's a quick review here. Jason Smith is our head umpire. And Wallace has been so good throughout the years of it. You almost perfect that as a stolen base artist, the timing of it all.
And the thing with Coach Wallen is, even if you're not a stolen base artist, you're perfecting that because base running is so important, especially when it gets down to the nitty-gritty and close games. How good is your jump? How well can you get off the base and accelerate? But, you know, she has a rocker stance, and that just, you know, caused Coach Stanton to feel that she left early, even though she didn't.
The 0-2. High fly ball, foul ground, Minnick over. This should bring in a run. Makes the catch, crashing into the net. Wallace tags, as does Erickson. That's a sac fly for Corby Otis. Gets the job done. Now 3 RBI for the Gator left fielder. Florida up 3-0.
And a really productive day thus far for Corby Otis in that sac fly foul. That would have been the difference if Skylar Wallace did get called out on leaving early, but still a good challenge because of where you are in the lineup with the opportunity for that.
Squeeze bunt, that goes foul. And how about that, considering, you know, Erickson has a little giddy up to her at third, but usually you might have a Wallace or a Falby at third base. We want to try and lay down a squeeze bunt to force that run in from third base. But now the corner infielders are going to come in.
I wonder where that one missed. Looked like a pretty good pitch to me.
Yeah, there's been a couple.
Yeah.
Kistler coming off, Alicia, that game we did on Wednesday, that career best performance for her, homered. Lines this to right field, just waiting on that one. Delivers as Erickson scoots across from third, and the Gators tack on another. Now up 4-0.
And we talk about Kistler and her home run. I think she just does a phenomenal job at clearing her hips to allow her hands to drive through to the ball. And again, you see it here in the 3-4 hole for a line drive, an RBI single. And you can see Erickson here hesitating and freezing on that line drive.
As Walsh hits one sharply on the ground. Was that caught on a line? It was, and it will be a double play. It was a line drive to Sarah Stone, who made the catch, and Kistler was well off the bag, heading toward the Gators. 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the third. A 3 RBI day for Corby Otis. RBI single from Katie Kistler. Here's Brianna Copeland, 2-way player for the Hoosiers. Let's see her start tomorrow's game against the Gators. An 11 a.m. first pitch tomorrow. Alicia, 11 a.m., that's pretty early. I don't know if you're a morning person, because I'm not.
I'm going to have to be. It took me 3 hours to get here today, so I'm going to...
You hit every bit of traffic.
Have to wake up. I'm going to have to actually pull an all-nighter. How about that?
Just sleep in the booth. Pretty sure Hank might do that, our audio guy.
See if I can get in their athlete lounge.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you can. You kind of have that all-American cachet, I would say. Just kind of waltz in. Copeland swings through strike 3. Rothrock pulls the string. That's her 4th K.
It's so deceptive, that rise ball. Such tight spin. I love that Rothrock just isn't afraid to get in her wheelhouse for another strikeout.
The last base runner for Indiana was a 4-pitch walk in the first inning. That was Taylor Minnick, who now stands to the plate right now. Homered in the first game of this doubleheader against Mercer. Pops this up. Kowalewski makes the grab. 2 up, 2 down. And the Gators electing to go with Rothrock for a 2nd consecutive game. And right now, just absolutely dealing. Last 3 frames has sat down. Last 2 frames has sat down Indiana in order, looking for a 3rd straight.
We talk about Rothrock not having great command of her rise ball the first inning. Even though she only faced 4 batters, I think the Hoosiers just have to go after strikes early so they don't get deceived by that rise ball late in the count.
9 straight retired for Rothrock since that 4-pitch walk.
I think they have to do a better job of trying to hit the ball on the ground. Rothrock has 6 fly outs thus far in the game and only 1 ground out. So that just tells you about the spin that she has and how well that she goes up in the zone to keep these hitters off balance.
Three and 1 here to Avery Parker. All Big Ten a year ago at .304 debut season with 10 home runs. Rothrock lets it fly. Count full. After a 5-walk performance last night, did have 11 strikeouts. Now today looking for a 5th K. Payoff coming. Facing her home state school, Whiteland, Indiana. 3-time Indiana Gatorade Player of the Year, was the National Gatorade Player of the Year in 2022. Parker settles in for another payoff. Just off the inside corner. That ends a stretch of 9 straight retired. Second walk for Rothrock, first base runner for Indiana since 2 outs in the first.
Really good eyes by Parker with this pitch inside, just kind of brushing her back a little bit, but still a really good pitcher's pitch. If I'm on the mound, I want that pitch called, but again, really great eyes by Parker to put a Hoosier on base.
Brings in Allie Van Brandt, flew out to center her first time. Lefty slapper, high bouncing ball, snared by Kowalewski. What a play, and a nice pick by Gels at first. The best fielding team in the country. Bouncing ball, flew out to left her first time. Against the lefty, Heather Johnson. In relief for Sophie Kleiman. Went just 2 innings, a hit, 4 runs, all of those earned, 3 walks and no strikeouts. Came in, did Kleiman with a .75 ERA and no losses. Kowalewski rams a line drive into left center. This could be extra bases. The freshman wheels around first. The throw is late. A leadoff double for Ariel Kowalewski. Continues to swing a scorching hot bat.
I just love how Kowalewski knows her speed. Off the bat, she's turning to go second. This ball, just taking it the other way. You see her rounding first base. Charlotte Eccles pointing her, getting a leadoff double for her team. Not only can she do it defensively, but she has been on fire in the box.
6th double of the year. Here's now Mia Williams. Grounded to third on the first pitch she saw on the second. She's trying to get her footing, 5 of her first 40 here in her freshman year, but they have a lot of confidence in what she can do as an athlete. Pops up this bunt, and it's caught by Heather Johnson, so cannot lay it down. Williams is looking for her first successful sacrifice this year.
That's textbook, no outs, run around second. Trying to get that bunt down, but doesn't quite do so, getting under it.
Pinch hitter in this spot here, Alicia Ava Brown, did not start the game today. Avery Gels got the start at first, and with Keegan Rothrock in the circle, somewhat of a half day off. It's like a half day of school here for Ava Brown. Comes in to pinch hit in the 9 spot here in the 4th inning.
Sometimes it's really hard to come off the bench and just get in a pinch hit or really a DH position. Takes a lot of discipline getting mentally ready. And I can tell that Ava Brown is in the deep breaths that she's taken, getting into the box, that she's itching to get another hit.
It's just her 3rd pinch hit opportunity this year. 0 for her first 2. Leadoff double from Kowalewski, starting this Gator 4th inning.
We talked about Johnson's backdoor curve when she first made an appearance. That pitch is just so dirty because it breaks through the outer chalk back onto the plate for a strike.
Brown serves one high in the air down the line and right, twisting foul. Also close to extra bases for Ava Brown. How tough is it to pinch hit at this level, Alicia? Did you do a whole lot of it in college, maybe your early years?
I did in my early years for Taylor Fuller quite a bit.
Yeah.
It is tough. It is extremely tough to pinch hit. When you're sitting on the bench, you kind of have to be in tune every single pitch of every game. But I think the beautiful thing about pinch hitting or even hitting lower in the lineup is you've already had eyes on the ball to see what the pitcher is throwing and her tendencies. So you've already had a ton of at-bats before your actual at-bat.
And if you're Ava Brown, you kind of know that if you're her in that 9 spot, that you're probably going to get a chance to pinch hit. There's a runner in scoring position. So mentally, I'm sure she's prepared. And the count now full.
I think she's just showing poise. Getting down 1-2 and then watching 2 straight balls.
Payoff, drives this to right field and deep. Bassett back, makes the catch on the warning track. Kowalewski was too far off the bag at second and tagged to third. So Brown just kept sending it the other way. That one, a long ride to the warning track dirt.
I think Kowalewski could have had the opportunity to late tag on that one with the ball. Going so deep in the right center field gap, but it almost looked like Lissette had a beat on it. So if I'm Kowalewski, I'm going to try to late tag on that since it's such a long throw to third base.
So after that leadoff double, Heather Johnson has had a bunt pop out for Mia Williams and a fly ball out to right. The Gators now looking for a 2-out RBI for Kendra Falby, who walked and grounded out to first.
And that's her job as a reliever, to come in and try to close that door, especially after Kleiman's appearance today. I think she's doing a phenomenal job thus far, giving up no runs, only a few hits, but still keeping the Gators offense off balance enough to hold the Kowalewski's double and keep her at second base.
And the Hoosiers have done a good job limiting the Gators today in what could have been crooked numbers in that first and in the third, especially in that first inning. It was bases loaded right out of the gate, nobody out. 2-2, slap foul.
That separates the good from the great. When you're given those free passes, what are you going to do with that? And they took full advantage of that, only getting 2 runs from that first inning before the Hoosiers closed the door. But still, offensively, when you're given free passes, you got to find a way to advance the runners and get them in, and that's exactly what the Gators did.
Chop to short. 2-hopper for Benson, has to hold on to it. That bat ending up all the way near the circle. And once you get that second hop for Kendra Falby, you have to limit it to 1 hop, because by the time that ball hits the dirt a second time, it's hard to get her.
Exactly, and she has such great speed. You see her just trailing down first base, and that's the beauty in speed. She stood in earlier to hit, now going to her slap. It's almost an automatic for her, especially like you said, Kai, with that second hop that allowed her to reach safely.
Gators 3 of 7 with runners in scoring position. Runner takes off, first and third play. They throw to the cutoff to try and bait Kowalewski to take off. And Falby will have a stolen base. And it's her 12th of the year. I mentioned the long gap for Falby between stolen bases. Not stolen a bag in the previous 8 games until today. I have a timeout on the field. I did notice too, usually it's the fake mock grenade toss to the dugout after a stolen base. They're going with the eagle flap the wings now. If you notice that, Wallace did it and Falby just did it at second base.
Yeah, I've got to get the backstory on that one, because even when I went here, we did the grenade. It's what we're used to seeing, so I got to figure out.
Got to do some investigating.
Some investigating.
You're a journalist now. You got to get the notepad. Maybe BP tomorrow. We'll ask around.
I'm just going to do a post-game interview in the locker room. Just going to barge in there and ask, what is this
What's
eagle
the deal
flap
with the
about?
Eagles, guys? Yeah, the tradition of that mock grenade throwing, that's been around for a long time.
It has.
After a stolen base. Count 3-1 to Skylar Wallace. Not sure Heather Johnson with the base open at first wants a whole lot to do with the reigning SEC Player of the Year, and I don't blame her. Wallace has been hit twice. and walks on 5 pitches here. That was in the other batter's box. But how this lineup is built, Alicia, okay, you walk Skylar Wallace. Now you have probably one of the best hitters in the country right behind her.
And we talk about protection. Skylar Wallace already an extreme threat in the box. So many different tools and speed, you name it. But then you have Jocelyn Erickson, who is right there with her and can swing it. So we talk about protection. Now Johnson has to come out Erickson to get the last out of this inning.
The protection piece in this lineup is so crucial. That's why the addition of Jocelyn Erickson in the transfer portal, it's a game changer for this lineup. Leads the SEC in RBIs. Another chance here with the bases loaded. And the 1-0 taken first strike. Erickson has not seen a whole lot to hit. Walked, was hit by a pitch. Third in the league in hits entering the weekend. Curves over for strike 2.
I think that's what's so good about this Gators team is they train their eyes extremely well and just have such discipline at the plate, and that's something they practice.
Erickson uncorks on a ball to left field. Staggered run. That tails foul. Minnick had a stop and start out in left field, unsure of the path of that tailing fly ball, and it just kept moving away and away. And Erickson will get another chance. Those are the mistakes, I guess you can categorize that you just can't make against this lineup. It was a tough play regardless, though.
Extremely tough when you have Jocelyn Erickson, the lefty, hitting a ball to the foul side on left field. Extremely tough, but if Erickson gets a hit, an RBI, that would be considered an error by Minnick.
It was a tailing fly ball, but she kind of stutter-stepped. It probably would have been a catch without a dive had she not stutter-stepped. And now a 2-2 count. Johnson's next. Spoils it fouled as Erickson.
Erickson hoping to take advantage of that misstep by Minnick in left field.
How about this? She hits .513 with runners in scoring position this year. .379 with 2 outs, .400 with the bases loaded. Swings away, drives one to left field, but Minnick is underneath it, makes the catch, so no harm, no foul on that dropped fly ball and foul. Will be Sarah Stone. Lead things off, check swing, pop-up. Mia Williams screaming ball, 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 out number 1. There's Ava Brown now at first. By the way, we're getting some confirmation, not quite the backstory yet. Matt Felsetti, who's sitting to our right, who's the head of data and analytics. The wings for the stolen bases, that's for base running milestones. But we don't necessarily know the backstory. I'm gonna ask around and get the backstory behind why the wings.
Got to. It's only right. The listeners need to know.
They need to know.
But I need to know as well.
I'm going to wear my 1940s reporter's hat to BP tomorrow with my pen, my notepad. They usually have the cigar in the mouth, the reporters back then.
Oh, I was thinking about coming in a bird suit.
A what suit?
A bird suit. So just go with the theme.
2-1 count to Kinsey Mitchell. You know the mascot for St. Joe's is kind of like a hawk, and he has to wave his arms the entire game. He's on scholarship, and you can't not wave your arms, or I think you lose the scholarship.
Yeah.
2-2.
School up in Philadelphia. My arms would absolutely hurt. It would be good arm care for me, especially going into my season in June.
But toned arms for sure. Mitchell takes just outside. Everybody in that infield wanted that pitch. Rothrock has struck out 4. 1 point retired 9 straight until a 2-out walk in the 4th ended that. Payoff coming. Outside. So the only base runners for Indiana today have come via the walk as Kinsey Mitchell will reach. She has 4 stolen bases this year. Does anything Alicia need to change in the overall approach here from Indiana, or is it just Keegan's that good today?
Well, Keegan Rothrock is that good, but we talked about how many pop-ups the Hoosiers have had against her. I just think they need to be better at trying to find the middle or top of the ball instead of getting under it, to try to just hit the ball past somebody and get on base instead of hitting it up to the sky, creating an easy out opportunity for the Gators.
Does that maybe change positioning in the box? Could that be altered to help with that problem?
It could. I mean, everyone's different with their approach and their adjustments. But I think they could definitely move up in the box to try to take away the break of her rise ball if they couldn't lay off. And now if they can lay off of that pitch, then it's a different ball game. It opens up more opportunity to swing at something closer to the zone.
1-2 to Alex Cooper. Rise ball taken high.
If you're going to swing at Rothrock's rise ball, you got to be able to find the top of it. So if you find the top while it's still rising, then you'll find the middle when the barrel meets the ball.
But if you move up in the box, you're cutting at reaction time as well that you might have.
Absolutely.
Payoff pitch. Runner takes off, swing and a miss, throw down, not a chance. Tag applied by Wallace. Jocelyn Erickson is incredible, throwing out runners. And that is the 9th caught stealing this year. Still down is Mitchell, though. Took a hard second nationally in stolen bases. Have not been able to get a whole lot of traction because they have not had many base runners. And Erickson, her 9th caught stealing this year behind home plate. Meanwhile, Corby Otis leads it off against the lefty Heather Johnson. Underway here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Sending prayers to Mitchell. It's not an easy thing to have to come off the field due to injury or hurt. So I hope she heals quickly and comes back healthy to continue to play in the season.
Meanwhile, Leah Andrews is now in center field. Defensive change with Mitchell out. So that'll be the lone defensive change for the Hoosiers on a 12-game win streak.
As the sun shows its face at Katie Seashell Presley Stadium.
The humidity today, it's starting to climb up there. It was about 82 at first pitch. Right now at 84.
I feel that 2%. I do.
As Otis works a walk on 5 pitches, and those Hoosier fans that are watching from the state of Indiana right now, they are jealous, I'm sure. It's the second trip to the Sunshine State for Indiana this year. They started the season in Clearwater, the NFCA Leadoff Classic. They actually began the year with a win over Oregon, played the likes of Clemson, a couple of games against Arizona. That was their one win against the top 25 team, that season opening win against the Oregon Ducks. Here's Katie Kistler now. RBI single in the 3rd, lined into a double play in the 1st. Shortens up, bunts this foul. Heather Johnson is pitching now for the Hoosiers, had a big hand in that win over 15th ranked Oregon. She got the start, was in that opener role, inning and 2/3. She had the no decision. Brianna Copeland got the win. Had a 1-run loss against Clemson, did the Hoosiers. Lost by 3 runs to Arizona. Then a 14-inning affair against the Arizona Wildcats. They lost after a 3-run bottom of the 14th inning.
We talked to Coach Stanton about those competitions versus ranked opponents. And she said that it's all about opportunity. What can you do when they give you free passes? How are you going to remain composed? And I think that sets you up for the rest of the year when you're facing such high competition, to be able to deal with that adversity and that intensity and be able to perform through it.
Kistler got jammed, pops this up, and sails out. Well, Coach Stanton had said prior to this weekend, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of pressure on our club. When you play Florida, it's all opportunity. Whenever you play a ranked opponent, we look at it as a big opportunity to build our resume. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Knew that they would face young quality pitching. That has been the case here today. Keegan Rothrock is not allowed a hit. She said Florida's the full package team. Just a great road test. And we'll get another chance tomorrow. 11 a.m. first pitch. Kistler turns around an inside delivery foul. Indiana really, this is their 51st year in existence as a program, but of late, up and coming. Regional for the first time in 12 years. Last season, won 40-plus games for the first time since the mid-90s. Kistler turns around a changeup down the line in right. Cut off on the warning track. Otis running all the way from first. Around third will get in as the throw gets away from third, and Kistler will have a run-scoring triple. How fired up is Katie Kistler with Tim Walton over at third.
And I'll say it time and time again, Kistler does a phenomenal job at getting her hips open to extend through the ball. This pitch a little bit elevated. She just drives this pitch to right field in the corner and uses her speed to get all the way around to third base. Of course, Bassett kind of stumbles, but Kistler getting an RBI in Otis.
Brings in now Reagan Walsh. Boy, Kistler's looking more and more like she did 2 years ago when she had a career season. Last year was a struggle for her, and Tim Walton has said it. But 2 years ago, she was the best batter against velocity on the team. And last year for her, allowed her to take a step back, a 30,000-foot view, make some mechanical adjustments. They had to do a lot of work on Katie Kistler's swing. And they feel like she's comfortable, and you can see it in the numbers. Let's go back to after the triple. You saw it initially live. Not the energy. Tim Walton and Katie Kistler. She was going for the double high five, but Coach Walton wasn't up for that. Left her hanging.
I love it. I love the energy that Kistler is giving her team and Coach Walton, but mostly the energy that Coach Walton is giving Katie Kistler. Just happy for her and happy that she feels comfortable in the box. She is swinging it, doing her thing. Katie Kistler getting back to Katie Kistler. It is so hard to hit a round bat and make that meet a round ball. She's doing a great job as of late.
You saw her start to pick it up, Kistler, in the postseason last year. 2-1 jam foul. After a tough regular season, tough SEC play, you could sense she was starting to feel a lot better in that Stanford Regional, homered. The numbers were there in the postseason against very good pitching staffs out west in that regional. And it has transferred on to this, her senior year. Two. Walsh swings away, rolls one to second. For Van Brent on to first, but that will bring in a run as Kistler comes across from third. And the Gators tack on another.
And a productive at-bat by Walsh. You can't be too mad about that. Bringing the Gators another RBI, bumping up her RBI stats.
So the Gators 2 runs in, up 6-0. You get a runner on here, and then all of a sudden you talk run rule territory. Gators last night earned their 19th run rule victory this year.
It's quite a lot, I would say.
Their most since they had 21 in 2016. You were part of that team. But they're only 2 away. Two 2-0 to Ariel Kowalewski. Had a double to lead off the fourth after a career night against Mercer with 5 driven in. 3-0.
Kowalewski has been so fun to watch today. She has 2 web gems over at third base. She's had to do some acrobatics to get to those balls, and she did it with grace, making strong throws over to first for 2 outs.
Well, there's a walk to Ariel Kowalewski. Meanwhile, if the Gators do indeed find a way to walk this off in run rule fashion, as Bailey Goddard's going to pinch hit for Mia Williams. On the flip side of it, you got the history for Keegan Rothrock. She's not allowed to hit yet.
I won't say it. It's a rule. We can't talk about it.
I know. Trust me, I'll hear from Tim Walton. Brooke Bernard, who played a prank on me earlier today in BP, she came up to me and said, "You've been saying my name wrong all year on the radio and on television," which I haven't. But the others put her up to the prank, so it gave me a heart attack during BP. She said, "No, I'm just kidding." Well, thanks for that, Brooke. She's now pinch running at first. Here's Bailey Goddard, who certainly has the power to end it on one swing here in the bottom of the 5th with 2 runs in. I'm sure Goddard hated to see that injury on the flip side from Kinsey Mitchell. That's exactly how she got hurt last year, running to second base. She'll foul this away. Multiple knee injuries in her career.
Happy to see her on the field and healthy. Coach Walton said, the team just loves her personality. It's so special when a team can be such a great teammate in the locker room, especially during the hard moments that she's had in her career facing injury.
Well, Goddard goes down on 3 pitches, goes down looking, and that is the first strikeout for Indiana pitching. Now it's up to Ava Brown. A pinch hit in the 4th inning for Avery Gels. Swings away, drives this to left field. Minnick back, turns, looks, it's off the wall. Bernard around third. The relay home is in plenty of time. A perfect relay. Jason Smith's tired of walking here today. Yep, obstruction at home plate, so the run counts, and Brown will head to second. Great challenge by Tim Walton, well done.
Or having the ball.
And that obstruction call as a whole has been up for debate the last couple of years. If you've been on Twitter or X, softball fans, that's really all they could talk about was obstruction.
It causes a frenzy.
Yeah, having to change the rules. Well, the Gators now 1 run away from a run rule victory. 3 runs in here in the 5th. Keegan Rothrock on the flip side is not allowed to hit as Falby floats this over third and foul. Indiana on this 12-game win streak. Let's see that come to an end. Won 9-2 earlier today against Mercer. Falby drives this out to left, twisting Minnick back, and makes the catch for the final out. So the Gators do get 3 runs. Great challenge by Tim last night. Blowout fashion over Alabama. You following basketball, college basketball these days, Alicia? March Madness?
I can't say that I am. I've been a fan of, LSU and Iowa. I feel like the whole world is shaken up about
on
those
the women's
2
side?
teams. Exactly.
Yeah. We had such a fun, I just came back from Greenville, South Carolina. I was with Florida on the radio side, but great championship game. South Carolina, LSU. Tennessee lost to South Carolina. Buzzer beater from their center from 3. As Brooke Benson fouls this back 2-1. Parity in women's basketball has been very good this year, especially in the SEC. So due for a good March on the men's and the women's side. Long ways away from the mayhem, as they call it, in the month of May for the softball postseason. Strike 2. Rothrock still a 0 in that hit column for Indiana, coming in as top 16 offense nationally. Just a little bit out.
Rothrock just spins this curveball in the river. Chalk just missing.
Wrapped on a line that goes off the glove of Otis. Had to turn the glove over. We'll see how they score it. Got caught in between of what she wanted to do with the glove as she went into her slide. And now the pressure is on her Brooks to my left. But that one was hit pretty hard. And a tough play going down to a slide. So we will wait to look at that scoreboard, and it's going to be an error. It will be... They might have put the error in the wrong column. It will be an error. So it's an E7, not a hit.
My pitcher heart's smiling for Rothrock right now.
Cora Bassett hits this deep to left field. Going back, Otis, no doubt about this one. A home run for Cora Bassett, her 7th of the year, and Indiana's on the board at 7-2. First hit is a homer.
We talk about how to be successful off of Rothrock. And Bassett follows that textbook, driving that pitch elevated in the zone to deep left field.
'31st home run for Indiana as a team. As Copeland fouls this into the glove. That's just the 6th home run given up by Gator pitching this year. Back-to-back nights for Rothrock having given up a long ball. She's given up 5 of the 6 in the Gator staff. That's the best number in the SEC. 0-2 now to Copeland.
That error in left field by Corby Otis allowed for that home run to be a 2-run bomb by Bassett.
Lines this to left. Otis in. She'll knock it down. Goes to Falvey. Copeland around first. The throw sharply into the bag, and the tag was not applied. So back-to-back extra base hits, and all of a sudden the Hoosiers have a big-time pulse here in the 6th inning.
Copeland, the two-way player, just takes another pitch elevated in the zone. It almost looks like they're making adjustments with 2 back-to-back extra base hits. But Copeland's so talented, hitting that ball, knowing that she wanted to take second, putting the pressure on the Florida Gators right now as they call time to regroup and refocus.
5th double of the year for Copeland, and this is the offense that we have become accustomed to for Indiana over the last season and change. Set a lot of program watermarks offensively last year in that regional run. Now it's up to Taylor Minnick. Homered in game 1 of the doubleheader. Hitting .390 or .388 now. Fouls the first back. Chance to see what the freshman has with a little bit of adversity, which she's not really faced up until this 6th inning. Oh, 1.
Go back to what Coach Stanton said about opportunity. He's taking advantage of these opportunities late in the game. She spoke about the power of contribution. Said that Brooke Benson is a great 9-hole with a balanced lineup to turn it over, and she did just that. Regardless of that error in left field, she hit that ball hard and started a rally for the Hoosiers.
Bloomington, Indiana native awaits. Takes ball 2. And a prime candidate to keep this rolling here with nobody out. Taylor Minnick leads the team in runs driven in. Hits in 7 of her last 8 games. She's had a great weekend at the plate. Launches this in the air. Right center field. Kistler turns, looks, see ya! 2-run blast. Taylor Minnick goes yard. And all of a sudden, the Hoosiers right back in it.
I just love that.
That was her 4th, second home run of the day in this doubleheader. And now it's Avery Parker as the bases are now clean.
No one talks about how tough it is to pitch a full 7 innings. 3rd time through the lineup, you got to figure out a different way to get these batters out because they are making adjustments.
And what do you see those adjustments are here for Indiana?
Well, you had Benson drive a pitch to left field. I think all 3 pitches that they've hit square have been pitches that are elevated, and we talk about how they were getting under those pitches earlier in the game, but I think Minnick and Bassett did a phenomenal job at keeping their hands up and hitting those balls square to hit another, Copeland, to hit those balls square.
Everything's been hit really hard in this inning. 1-2 to Parker. That clipped her. A hit by pitch, and now all of a sudden you have Ava Brown at first base. So if you want her to start warming up here, you're going to have to take her out of the game and put Gales back in.
I like to call them the 2-headed monster. Ava Brown and Keegan Rothrock having the bulk of the innings on the staff. But, you know, if they're treating this like a regional weekend, you can look at it a few different ways. Keep her in and let her ride through that adversity and figure out how to get out of a funk.
Well, the umpires will meet. Maybe this... We're going to go... Yeah, so the hit by pitch is under review. Whether Parker was hit or not. At first glance, I didn't see it, but that's naked eye looking at the field. We're going to get slow motion replays here coming up. So Jason Smith has got to take that long walk. I hope he's wearing his Apple Watch today because he's got his steps in. Rothrock shell-shocked right now here in this inning. 3 consecutive extra base hits after a hard line drive, which was called an E7 to preserve a no-hitter. And here is the hit by pitch that was called, leaning into it, but does she stay in her box? And did it hit her?
You know, it would be easy to say that she's leaning into it, but as a batter myself, it almost looks like she's just trying to protect her knee. If she would have continued to open up her hips, it probably would have gotten her kneecap.
It looks like that view shows it did hit her because you can see the pattern change around that left knee. Absorbing the impact, you can see it. So it did hit her. It looks like on that replay. I think you're right. If you're Tim Walton, I think you maybe try and ride it out here with Keegan Rothrock and just have her battle through it, because that's part of, even in the postseason, when you face very good lineups, whether in regionals or super regional play, she is the race, so you got to find ways to fight through it, as Jason Smith will again come back out. So Jason Smith, a fan of Super Freak, and Tim Walton will now come out and have an argument with Janet Tidwell. So now Tim Walton's going to have a conversation with Jason Smith. He was the one looking in the monitor. Shonda Stanton and Tim Walton now entering the fray. I think they might have reviewed the wrong thing. I think Tim Walton wanted to review whether she was out of the box to get hit, as opposed to whether it was a hit by pitch or not. Because I don't necessarily know if he's arguing the fact that she was hit by the pitch. It's whether she leaned out over the plate. Now, that's when it becomes kind of hairy about what you can and cannot review. There's a long list of things you can, and there are some things you can't.
As the umpires are meeting, we do have some action in the bullpen. Olivia Miller has gone out to warm up.
So it just says in the rules you can review whether a batter is hit by a pitch. That's the only thing I see in that section. Now Jason Smith will call together head coach Shonda Stanton and Tim Walton. Well, whatever was told, Tim Walton seems to be okay with it. And Shonda Stanton, not so much. And now the third umpire, Christine Littlefield, will now enter the fray. All right, so this looks to be like Florida's is going to go Florida's way here, whatever the conversation has been.
The play umpire did not call hit by pitch, and therefore it is not upheld. It is over. It is upheld as not hit by pitch.
So, but now Indiana can go back, but I believe they've used their 2 reviews, coach reviews. If they wanted to review whether she was hit or not. So I don't believe they have any challenges left to review it on the flip side, because she was hit by pitch. And what they're saying is Janet Tidwell did not call a hit by pitch the whole time. But my thing is, how did she let it get to review with Jason Smith? Where was the miscommunication from her telling the rest of the crew, saying, well, hold on a second, that's just a ball. That wasn't a hit by pitch. Now, I don't believe Indiana has any reviews left to initiate a challenge to say, hey, that was a hit by pitch.
I don't believe they do. They have 2 challenges before the 6th inning. After the 6th inning, the umpire,
Right.
the umpire's allowed to challenge freely, but they have 2 before the 6th inning.
So that you can initiate a review as a coach, or as the umpire, you can initiate a review from the 6th inning on. Now my thing is could you have an umpire-initiated review here in the 6th inning of a hit by pitch?
Going against the grain, which it feels like it already has been in this inning with this review.
All right. So Parker back to the plate, lines this out to center, right to Kendra Faldy. I kind of like how the energy has switched in this ballpark. You know, if you're a fan kind of sitting watching this 7-0 game, you're leaning back in your seat, you're enjoying the weather. Now all of a sudden things are getting a little bit chippy. Coaches are entering the fray, kind of barking back and forth. And we have a ball game again, just a 3-run game. And here's Allie Van Brent, takes strike 1.
And the Hoosiers still have 5 outs to make something shake.
Bounce to third, Kowalewski. You almost get the sense that long review gave time for the Gators to take a deep breath, specifically Keegan Rothrock, to just reset a little bit.
No, I agree. And I think with how momentum shifts, I think the momentum that the Hoosiers had, it kind of feels like that shifted the momentum again, like you said.
Now it's up to Sarah Stone. 4 runs in this 6th inning for IU. All on extra base hits. I hope you didn't have any dinner plans, Alicia Ocasio, because they're probably ruined. That hits off Rothrock. Off the deflection, the glove shovel. Not in time. Very close. Now we have to check on Rothrock to make sure she's okay. It was an audible thud. We'll see where it hit her. She's walking it off right now. Caitlin Towers, athletic trainer, is on the top step of that dugout. I think that was very close. Nice athletic play from Rothrock.
Stone just squares this ball up. Looks like it hits her shin. Very loud thud for a shin to make, but I'm glad that her leg was up and not on the ground. It, would have made a bigger impact, but really good heads-up play to finish it out for Rothrock.
That's a specific play the Gators work on a lot in their pitching fielding practice. Those glove shovels in stride to first base. I see Caitlin Towers at the edge of the circle, just looking over Keegan Rothrock right now. Hit her flush, looked like in that shin. If anything, that's going to leave a giant bruise.
And those are the worst. It's the worst place to get hit in the shin, because then your ankle swells and it's swollen for months. It feels like. But how about the toughness to come back and finish out that play as best as she could?
Meanwhile, Chloe Geyer is going to pinch run at first base. One more on, and then you're talking about the tying run coming to the plate. We will have a pinch hitter as well. Actually, this is Aaliyah Andrews. She entered into the game in center field when Kinsey Mitchell got hurt running the bases, so now she is hitting in the 7th spot. She has played in center field since that injury. And Andrews just a 167 hitter. Mitchell going down as a 309 hitter. So you take a big dip in average in this 7th spot. Mitchell tries to lay one down quickly, 2 strikes.
What I love about this Hoosiers team is they have not stopped fighting. Even with the score being 7-0, they continue to swing it. Ended up putting a few runs on the board and shaking up the Florida Gators a little bit.
Indiana did not have a hit until this 6th inning. They've had 4 runs on 4 hits. 2 home runs of the 2-run variety in this inning. Big pitch here, 0-2. Keegan Rothrock has 5 strikeouts. Andrews stays alive. Two-strike pitch, up the ladder, 1-2. Leah Andrews, senior from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Just 6 at-bats this year, 1 of 6 to start the year. And this is tough to stand in. Only 6 at-bats all year. Now you got to face Keegan Rothrock in a big spot here in the 6th inning.
Well, I will say, Andrews looks quite comfortable in the box.
Strike 3, outside corner. And we'll have a new pitcher inside the circle, Macy Montgomery.
Macy Montgomery, we talk about Keegan Rothrock's rise ball, but I really love to watch Montgomery throw hers as well. I also believe that's her best pitch. When she throws it, it just sails through the zone. The Hoosiers going from a righty to a lefty, and Johnson back to a righty in Montgomery.
And we'll have Skylar Wallace to lead it off. It's not recorded an official plate appearance yet. Been hit twice, 5-pitch walk. And gets hit again. Why not? You can sense the frustration of not getting a whole lot to hit. You get used to it, Skylar. It's kind of the deal when you're a star.
Hey, I'd still be happy. My on-base percentage is still getting bumped up regardless.
You can just sense Skylar is on the brink of just kind of losing it.
I love it. I love the competitive nature. She wants to hit. She wants the bat in her hands. When you get walked, get hit by a pitch, it kind of takes that out of your hands. But nonetheless, she still has an opportunity to take second base. You can expect that out of Skylar Wallace.
Erickson head in the count, 2-0. They call her Jossie. It's her nickname. Hawk hit by pitch, flew out to left. Wallace bluffs, and ball 3. Montgomery has thrown 20 innings. It's her 10th appearance, has 2 winning decisions. Runner takes off, pitch in for a strike, throw down, Wallace in, headlong. Second stolen base for Skylar Wallace, flapping those wings like an eagle.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Skylar Wallace, again, with their second stolen base of the day.
It's now 5 on the weekend. And Erickson walks on 5 pitches. So Indiana did all that work to get back in the game, and now the Gators might get a whole lot of that back. Prime candidate to do it, Corby Otis, who has 3 RBI, 2-run single in the first, sac fly in the third, reached on a 5-pitch walk and scored in the 5th. Again, shortens up, trying to move those runners over, 2-0. An incredible student, studying for her medical college admission tests, wants to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. 2 seasons at Louisville, preseason All-American. Corby Otis shortens again, ball 3. Tim Walton said this about Otis in the offseason, in comparison to Jocelyn Erickson, who kind of flew under the radar. She's somebody who's chasing some expectations this year after a great sophomore season at Louisville. Such a cerebral hitter. Bounces this to the right side. Could be 2. There's 1. Return to first is late. So now runners at the corners, 1 out. Erickson is cut down. Prime opportunity here for Katie Kistler, and a triple her last time.
Another first and third opportunity. Every first and third that we've seen on the day has been an automatic stolen base by the runner at first base.
Runner takes off, and they won't even try and throw. So stolen base for Otis. And that's her second of the day. 7 of 7. One swing can bring in 2, something in the gap. Kistler turned around a changeup her last time, Alicia, on that triple.
Yeah, we talk about her just finding her footing again, finding her swing. You can see the confidence in her posture when she steps in the box. How she acknowledges that strike right there.
Third pitcher for the Hoosiers, Macy Montgomery. Deals 1 to Kistler, rockets 1 foul.
I said it earlier, but she just clears her hips so well, and that's why she's able to get around those pitches that are middle in. She gets her hands through them. Even outside pitches, she's able to pull, but she just opens her hands and drives her barrel through and around.
Hitting now an even 400. Swings away, drives one down the line and right to the track. It's gone! Katie Kistler continues to swing it at an elite level. A 3-run blast, and Florida has some cushion once again. Now a 10-4 lead in the 6th.
Wow. And I just said it, how she just clears her hips, gets this pitch that's elevated at her shoulders, drives it over the right field fence. Such excitement. You see her riding the base, getting a big congratulations from her teammates.
5 RBI day for Katie Kistler, and that ties that career-high 5 ribby performance against Stetson on Wednesday. And is now homered twice in the last 2 games, and that is just her 5th career home run. All of a sudden, the power has entered the picture.
Yeah, wow. What a great time to get hot amidst SEC conference play. I think when you're successful, obviously you have to have some things happen, like consecutive hits, but
now Walsh unloads on a ball to left field. Minnick has room in front of the track.
But when you have the top of the lineup producing, then you have Katie Kistler smack dab in the middle of the lineup producing. Everything's firing on all cylinders. It's almost impossible to lose.
Well, she already has a career high, Katie Kistler, now 28 RBI on the season. Previous career high was that great 2022 season when she had 24 and 60 starts. Now, you thought coming into the year, as Kowalewski bats here, it'd be kind of a revolving door of sorts in right field. That ain't the case now. Katie Kistler, you can etch her in stone in right field.
Yeah, her ticket's punched the way she's swinging it right now.
Such high production from that Gator outfield this year. Falby, Otis, and Kistler. Just see the power numbers skyrocket from Kistler. That was her 3rd home run after just 1 in each of the last 2 years. One of those was an inside the park homer.
You don't see that often. You get to college softball and the park home runs.
Kowalewski drives this foul. You want some of the deep numbers from our guy Matt Felicetti next to us?
Let's talk about it.
Exit velo of 70, a launch angle of 28, and a distance of 230.
Now when you have a launch angle of 28, that's bound to go over the fence when you hit it that hard.
Yeah.
Anywhere between about 25 to 32 with an exit velo over 70 is bound to go out.
I'm glad that you provided the context there, because here I am just spitting out numbers. I'm glad that you
I did my best.
You provided that context there, which is so important.
Yeah. So players in college typically are going to have exit velos over 70. High schoolers probably in the high 60s range. If you're an elite high school athlete who just swings it, you're going to touch 70.
Kowalewski, long AB, skies this to shallow center. Leah Andrews will grab it for the final out of the inning. Gators now have 10 runs, or 3 in the bottom of the 6th. Florida was up 7-0 at one point, and from that point, both offenses kicked down the door. Now we have a 10-4 game. Gators adding insurance on a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 6th from Katie Kistler. And now Indiana down to their final 3 outs Alex Cooper leads it off and takes a strike. 0-2.
It has been an interesting game this far. Both teams throwing punches, but I think you just have to talk about the grit of Indiana, just not letting up, especially after being down 7-0.
Kowalewski overran it up against that screen, had to negotiate that netting. And as a freshman, over the years, you'll learn more about how to deal with that, but she overran it. And her teammates trying to help by pulling back that screen over there. Pitch 100 on an 0-2.
Gives Cooper a second life after that missed pop fly by Kowalewski. Foul territory.
Cooper stays alive. 4 runs given up from Rothrock. That is a season high. 3 of those earned. That is also tied for a season high. Gave up 3 earned runs against Oklahoma State earlier this year. Does have 6 strikeouts. Back-to-back days in the circle for Rothrock. Gators will have the Hoosiers again tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. first pitch. 2-2, high and in.
Rothrock's been staying out when she's ahead in the count or going up, trying to get the batters to swing through or miss hit. Now she's got to come at her.
And the at-bats have gotten so much better from Indiana. 1 through 9. They had 3 consecutive extra base hits in that 6th inning. This will be the 9th pitch of this at-bat to Alex Cooper, who has struck out twice. And a payoff. Make it a 10th.
Cooper just getting under all the foul balls. I'd love to see her make an adjustment. We talked about it earlier. Finding the top of the ball, just trying to hit line drive or ground ball. But one thing that I've noticed about Rothrock today, she hasn't necessarily thrown her changeup a ton, just relying on her movement up in the zone and away from these batters.
Ball 4. So on the 10th pitch, Alex Cooper walks. Here in the 7th, leadoff base runner. And that's a 4th walk from Rothrock.
That's how you got to come back. If there's any chance for Indiana to win this game, they have to be patient, allow Rothrock to throw a lot of pitches, and have discipline at the plate, but also hack at good pitches.
Ball 1 to Brooke Benson. Indiana coming in 1-3 against ranked opponents as Erickson will go out. First 2 out of the zone. Lone win against number 15 Oregon. See if they mount a rally here in the 7th.
That just shows maturity in Erickson. Seeing those 2 balls out of the zone, calling timeout to consult with Rothrock out there. Give her some confidence. Have her pound the zone. See the coaches keeping their charts. We talk about analytics and numbers. It's very important in this game.
Seems like that meeting worked.
Seems as if.
Benson, the veteran shortstop, has had a really good season. 0 for 2. Did reach on an error her last time. That started that 6th inning rally. Outside corner strike. Now the count even. 181st game for Brooke Benson from Fishers, Indiana.
Double play opportunity for the Gators.
Could we have 2? There's 1 on the first. Alicia Ocasio almost called it, and I would have gotten up and left the booth.
You know what? I wouldn't typically say that with how many pop flies that Rothrock has had this far, but it seemed fitting, a dramatic way
Yeah.
to start the 7th inning.
I would have asked you for the lottery numbers and left the booth. So 1 out, replace Benson for Cooper at first. 2 outs to play with here for IU. It's Cora Bassett homered on a 2-run shot in the 6th. And popped out twice in the infield. Transfer from Purdue. So has played her entire collegiate career in the Big Ten. 2 seasons as Boilermaker. Softly flares this, shallow right. Kistler's got it on the run. And now the Hoosiers down to their final out.
Good job tracking that ball. Like Kistler in right field. She is feeling herself. Throwing up some numbers in the box. Making plays in right field.
Rothrock against Copeland, fouls off the first. Brianna Copeland, last hope here for Indiana. Rothrock's thrown 10 complete games this year. That ties her for 6th all-time among Florida freshmen, along with Stephanie Brombacher, who did so in 2008, and somebody named Alicia Ocasio in 2015. Does she have an 11th? And now 1 strike away.
Copeland with a double, her last at-bat off of Rothrock.
Faced the adversity in the 6th, giving up no hits through 5. Chance to go the distance. Rothrock fires. Snap toss, throw down to first, gets away from Brown, but the runner stays put. Benson gets back. That would have been one way to end it.
And I understand that move. You don't want to end the game on getting thrown out at second base.
Crowd on its feet for a 1-2. Bouncing ball to short. 2 hops clubbed by Wallace. Overhands to first. That's your ball game. 11th complete game for Keegan Rothrock. Had her ups and downs in the start, but in the end picks up her 11th victory. Gators.
Yo, listen up, let me take you on a journey where dreams are born and souls burn with fury. In the depths of our hearts we hold our desires, but to make them real we must light the fires. In the face of adversity we stand tall, with courage in our hearts we'll conquer all. Through the trials and tribulations we'll endure, for our dreams we'll fight, oh that we're sure. Fight for your dreams, let the music play. In the rhythm of life, find your own way. With every beat of your heart and every step you take, keep fighting for your dreams, don't let them break. From the city streets to the starry skies, we'll reach for the heavens with determined eyes. With perseverance as our weapon and passion as our guide, we'll break through barriers, let our dreams collide. In the silence of the night, hear the roar of warriors fighting for dreams forevermore. For in the battle for our dreams, we find our strength. In the symphony of life, let's go to any length. Fight for your dreams, let the music play. In the rhythm of life, find your own way. With every beat of your heart and every step you take, keep fighting for your dreams, don't let them break. So let the music guide you through the storm, as you fight for your dreams in every form. For in the melody of life, you'll find the truth. And in the battle for your dreams, you'll find your youth. Yeah, keep fighting for your dreams with all your might. In the dance of life, let your spirit take flight. For in the end, it's not about the fame, but the journey itself and the fire in your flame.